Mabuhay everyone! My name is Annabel A. Gordonas and I am welcoming you all to this international training on alternative trends and models in Education 5.0 for 21st century educators and school leaders. So this is sponsored by the Philippine Continuing Professional Development. So our session outline will focus on three topics. The first one is the drivers of change. Secondly is an Education 5.0, flexible and high flex learning. And lastly, we will be discussing the alternative trends and models in Education 5.0. So my dear teachers and school leaders, how are you all today? I just hope that you are still embracing proactively in spite of the fact that we are still experiencing the wrath of Omicron or COVID Omicron. As teachers and school leaders, it has been our fundamental duty to always elevate the standards of education in the country, and the basic rights of our learners must be still provided and given even during an emergency crisis. It's still okay, it's normal that we feel different types of emotions nowadays. So I'm hoping and I'm praying that you are still bringing with you the positive ions that you need to exemplify every day. So let me give with you or share with you my mnemonic device of smile. So let's start the day with Thanksgiving. Memorize promises from God's Word, initiate conversation with a stranger, limit the influence of gossip and bad news, and encourage the people who caused you to smile today. So before I will be sharing to you my main lecture, I have here a website that you need to open and see how the world trends. So my dear teachers and school leaders, I want you to open in your browser www.worldmeters.info. Okay? Again, it's www.worldmeters.info. I'm going to give you a minute to open it, and let's try to demystify what's with that website. Okay. So I guess you have opened now the website that have been requesting you. So you have seen that it tells about the current world population, the current debts, the government and economics, social media, energy, and other important stuff that we need to know as an educator and school leader, because these are the things that we need to be catering up when it comes to the preparation of our teaching and learning in the classroom or in the cyberspace environment. So, as teachers, as educators, we can never deny the fact that the reality is now, and we need to prepare for the future. That's why this topic is quite pivotal for you to demonstrate an understanding on how to adjust to the next normal that we are unfolding right now, right? So, shocks and aftershocks, we know that there were hard times, or there are hard times during and after COVID contagion. Right now, the latest is the COVID cases in our country has been skyrocketing, and COVID Omicron has been continuing to deluge the upsurge of the cases. I hope the government will be able to really fight this crisis, and that Filipinos will be able to take care of themselves by really adhering to the COVID protocols that we need to observe. So it says that during COVID-19, it has really made a big or created a big challenge, forcing schools and universities to embark on a digital transformation. process that was envisioned for 5 to 10 years in the future within months. We have seen that before COVID, there were a lot of trainings about information, communications, and technology. I was part of the training, no, in a certain organization where it was sponsored by the Commission on Higher Education. We were busy preparing for the future, but during COVID, this preparation has just been introduced within months. So this is the big Rubik's Cube that we need to really put an effort on how we could possibly catch up with this big pressing issue. Okay, so we are aware of the fact that the pandemic has resulted in an unprecedented change to the educational system of our country, which basically navigated in a new reality. So we have observed that governments around the globe have enacted varied responses to COVID-19 across multiple dimensions. Like, firstly, there was a policy response where they ensure a well-coordinated response in enacting emergency measures like the mass closures of academic institutions. According to UNESCO, there are around 1 million plus learners who are affected with this emergency crisis. The second one is structural response. It means activating distance learning solutions and supporting infrastructure like delaying, canceling exams, and adapting promotions. Third is social response. It means delivering solutions to meet the needs of the students, educators, parents, and educational leaders. We have seen how our schools are able to tap the stakeholders in order to really gain support and forge linkages, how to really accumulate or maybe ask support so that the learners would be able to be supported in times of emergency crisis. And lastly is financial response. No? It means ensuring availability and accessibility of distance learning educators or solutions through investment in partnership. We have seen that there was a multitude partnership, facilitated and conducted by various agencies and institutions so that these major problem could be mitigated. No? We have seen that the medical sector has also been doing their part, and as well as that of the educational sector was been very collaboratively engaging when it comes to catering the needs of the faculty, the staff, the parents, and etc. So technically, we are aware of how the drivers of change continue to change, the landscape of education. Firstly, there was the pandemic and other disruptions. Just recently, we have experienced Odette, and we have seen how it terribly wreaked havoc, within or across the places in the country, like in Surigao, Siargao, Negros, Cebu, and other parts of the country, and we cannot control it. No? The next one is the declining government's funding for education. During COVID contagion, we have been observing that being part of the government institutions, the tight budget was really controlled, and more allocation or budget has been given or allocated to that of the medical sector. Third is students to demand more flexibility and personalization. Right now, I am teaching in the undergraduate and graduate studies, and have really observed and experienced that a majority of my students are working. So this is actually an advantageous mechanism for them, because they can embrace personalization when it comes to catering their needs in education. The next one is the promise of digital technology. We have experienced that on the verge of education 4.0 or slash industry 4.0, the dominating concept was technology. It really gave us the avenue to explore and discover about different platforms and web-based tools where we can really use this in our specific work, whether we are a teacher, we are in a certain company working, or whatever role that we are performing every day. And the next one is the need to respond, because if you will not be flexible enough and find the right amount of strategy to cope up with this uh, improvements and innovations, then we will be left behind. So as a teacher, as an educator, as a school leader, it is not, I mean, there's no room for a no-no, because we are the beacons of hope of our students, especially during this time, and we need to really take a big leap when it comes to innovations and trends in education. So when we are talking about the alternative trends and models, it is always accompanied or related to the wonders of curriculum 5.0, which is right now we are really seeing a perspective of the path forward. So what do we mean when we say 5.0? What's the target? Okay, how do we possibly bridge the gap, from education 4.0 to that of the new landscape of education, and that's 5.0? Well, we are aware, and I'm sure that you have heard several times, that curriculum 5.0 champions a learner-centered curriculum aimed at nurturing future-ready learners who possess the 21st century literacies. So when we say literacies, we're talking about the hard and soft skills that our students need to acquire at the end of the lesson, perhaps, or after graduation. They're able to establish and possess the various competencies that they need to exhibit in the workplace. So how do we deal with this preparation? How can we integrate multidisciplinary approaches in training holistic learners? Okay, so what then would be the key competencies, which are basically essential for our students? So later on, I'm going to present to you the expected competencies that our students need to exhibit and master, so that they could be successful and thriving in the new learning workforce. But first, let us have a short recap on the history of industrial revolution. It started from mechanization in 1780, where this is the navigation of industrial production based on the machines powered by water and steam. Imagine. So, and of course, we could never forget the likes of the father of scientific management, and that's Frederick Taylor, Max Weber, and other notable personalities were part of this big innovation. The next one is electrification in 1870, wherein there was a mass production using assembly lines, automation in 1970, where there was automation using electronics and computers. Another one is globalization. There was an offshoring of production to low-cost economies. And lastly is digitalization, the introduction of connected devices, analytics, and artificial intelligence. So we are actually on the portal of embracing digitalization. So as a 21st century educator and school leader, how do we cope up with this big challenge ahead if we will not train ourselves to become proactive? Okay, so let me share to you the 5 trends in education that continue in 2021. This was last year, and let's see if this shall take effect within the new year that we are about to embrace, and that's 2022. Firstly, there was technological trends in teaching and learning. So in 2020, we were really trying our best to to learn about the different web-based tools and platforms so that we can really deliver the quality and excellent services as to online learning modality or even in the modular learning modality. So our patience, our competence, our skills are really challenged that time. But there was a great this was really a great learning experiences for all of us because we were able to discover what's the new skill that we were able to acquire while acquiring or while on the training or while discovering on the verge of those trainings that we have attended. Another one, the soft skills training, a major trend in higher education. So it's a fact that we are really looking into nurturing our students to become communicators, leaders, managers, self-starters. So it's a fact that we cannot serve in an empty vessel. So everything starts from us, being the purveyors of knowledge. So we also focus on this particular landscape where we train ourselves to also exhibiting competencies how to train our students holistically. The next one is student trend, where there was a decreasing attention spans. Normally, it's only 11 seconds, but during pandemic, it plummeted to 7 seconds. So how can we respond to this type of a challenge when we know that our priority in the classroom is student engagement? And with this attention span trend, how can we motivate our students to really listen, engage, and empower themselves in the cyber classroom for now? Huh? And another one is facilitating learning versus teaching, because we all know that we are not just looking into the preparation of lessons when it comes to cyberspace teaching and learning. We're also focusing on the performance-based tasks, assessments, feedback, and evaluation. So how do we embrace equilibrium when it comes to delivering their services to our students? And the last one is lifelong learning trend, where that's our main goal, to produce future-ready learners who can be able to really construct their own destiny by being self-leaders, self-managers. They have the sense of ownership of their own learning. So let me share with you the 5 things to know about the future of jobs based on the Future of Jobs and World Economic Forum. The first one is COVID-19 is pushing companies to scale to remote work, like it allocated 83%, and to accelerate digitalization, that's 84%, and to accelerate automation, and that's 50%. So basically, COVID-19 is here to stay. So if you are a school leader, you should see, you should have an eagle eye how to calculate plans, objectives, strategies, risk assessments, so that you could possibly continue the expected deliverables in a specific school, for a specific school that you're managing or leading. The next one is the jobs landscape in 2022. If you can see here, there are top 10 emerging jobs that are about to unfold this year. The first one is on data analytics and scientists. Number 2, artificial intelligence and machine learning specialists. I remember I've been training these staff before COVID, and they were being tagged as disruptors. But during COVID and even right now, they are not anymore disruptors. I mean, they're already dominating the landscape of the world. Okay. The next one is general and operations managers, software and applications developers and analysts, sales and marketing professionals. We also have big data specialists, digital transformation specialist, new technology specialist, organizational development specialist, information technology services. So from these data, we have seen that really the hard skills and soft skills of our students needed to be given focus and priority when it comes to our curriculum review, evaluation, and implementation. The next one, take a look at this. Now, there are top 10 declining jobs that are identified by the World Economic Forum. The first one is data entry clerks, no? Accounting, bookkeeping, and payroll clerks. When I read this, I was shocked because accounting is included. We know how important the work is, right? Administrative and executive secretaries, assembly and factory workers, client information and customer service workers, business services and administration managers, accountants and auditors, and so on. So this is quite heartbreaking because we know some of our friends who are working in this type of specializations and niches. So how can we be able to really adjust from this challenge? And it's really happening this year, the jobs landscape. Another one is the rate of automation. We know that during Industry 4.0, there was a focus of digital technology. But when we are navigating or transferring into Education 5.0 or Industry 5.0, it's a combination between the humans and the machines. Okay, so in 2025, it expected that 53% of the humans are allocated vis-a-vis the machines, which is 47%. And in 2020, 67% in for the machines, it's 33%. So what I'm trying to say here is that every company, every industry has been very active in identifying, the fact that human capital is of primal importance. That's why you have seen that they're allocating more budget, resources, facilities, logistics in order to train the people, because nobody could replace the humans, right? And the interconnection then of course the machines. And I have been mentioning to you a while ago the top 10 skills of 2025. So the key competencies that our students need to acquire. So we are talking about the type of skill like the problem solving, self-management, working with people, technology use and development. So if you're teaching in the elementary and secondary, so you could see that the 7 C's are still there, like communication, collaboration, creativity, cross-cultural understanding, computing or ICT literacy, and career self-reliance. No? And if you're a teacher or educator from the higher education, so these are the soft and hard skills that our students need to acquire and possess so that they could be at edge, no? They could be globally competitive with all the skills that industries are looking into. The first one is analytical thinking and innovation. So here, our graduates are expected to answer a problem question. They need to find an answer, to what's being stipulated in the inquiry and research. No? They could innovate. They could create something. They could design something. Active learning and learning strategies, they're able to integrate or maybe discover the way how they solve the problem or how they're coping up with their job specifications. The next one is complex problem, which basically we know that this is the foundation on how to train our students to become critical thinkers. critical thinking and analysis, creativity, originality, and initiative, where they're expected to really produce a certain output whenever a lesson is done, or maybe during the actual field when they're working, they're expected to really um, demonstrate, and create the staff relative to their line of work. The next one is leadership and social influence. Technology use monitoring and control. That's why, as educators and school leaders, it's uncontrollable that we need to really accept the fact that we need to innovate every day as regards to using web-based platforms. I'm not saying that you need to be familiar with all of those things, but maybe one, two, three, or five web-based tools would do for us to be able to really demonstrate our competencies when it comes to navigating from being a digital immigrant to that of a digital native. The next one is technology use, monitoring, and control. Technology design and programming, resilience, stress, and tolerance and flexibility. Because it's still a priority that we put forth on the mental health of our workforce, our teachers, our staff, etc. And last one is reasoning, problem solving, and ideation. Our students are able to create an idea, and this idea could be magnified into something big and useful in their line of work. So, my dear teachers, I hope you'll be able to have a short reflection of these skills, because this basically define who we are as, yun nga, na-mention ko kanina, the beacons of hope, by our students. Another one is reskilling needs, where basically 50% of all employees will need reskilling by 2025. We're just very lucky, from the educational sector, there is budget for all teachers and school leaders to be trained. When it comes to professional development, we attend trainings, we uplift our educational advancement, we cross-skill, reskill, and upskill, so that every time we face the battle in our everyday lesson, we can be proud that we have introduced multidisciplinary approaches to our students. We are able to really capture the attention of training them to become holistic learners. So when we're talking about Education 5.0, so there is a market evolution. It's human-centric. Industries and companies are really aiming to become globally competitive as well. So they innovate, they introduce trends within the products that they're catering. They are also identifying the target markets that we would like to have with their own products. In the same way sa atin as educators and teachers, we need to also prepare the possible change that we would like to adopt in the classroom, because this VUCA world is inevitable. VUCA means volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. When we do not adhere to standards of being flexible and agile from all of the challenges that we experience today, then we could not really be thriving and successful. That's why it's also our main priority to be always on the go as regards the trends, the models that our educational sector is introducing. So let me show you the technologies which are likely to be adopted by 2025. This is based on the Future of Jobs survey. And we have seen here that the cloud computing, big data analytics, Internet of Things, and connected devices, encryption, cybersecurity, because we know right now, since we are doing online activities, submission of records, doing the class records of our students, their personal identity are at stake, right? Or it's at stake. So we need also to have this mechanism to protect the lives of our students, or the lives of the workforce in companies. We are also embracing artificial intelligence, text, image, and voice processing, e-commerce, and digital trade. robots, non-humanoid, augmented and virtual reality, where I'm sure that you have experienced this or maybe seen this or maybe you have this in your respective schools, no? And other important technologies that we need to be familiar of. Well, it's not yet implemented, but this is the future of now, my dear students, my dear participants, my dear teachers. So, as the share of tasks performed by humans versus machines, no, uh, in terms of 20 and 2025, so we have seen here uh, the data, how both concepts or dimensions are performing when it comes to information and data processing. So, sa 2025, mas maraming human capital ang kailangan, looking for and receiving related information, performing complex and technical activities, administering, identifying, and evaluating job-relevant information, and other important performances that are being demonstrated by the humans and the machines. So, with all of the things that I have been mentioning, it's actually leading to Education 5.0. So, again, when we are talking about 5.0, it's a curriculum in education that champions a learner centered curriculum aimed at nurturing a future ready learner or nurturing future ready learners who possess the 21st century literacies. So it says that I've been mentioning kanina, no, the terms Rubik's Cube. No? So, pag nasa Rubik's Cube tayo, we are considering the different challenges that our country is actually experiencing. Or even not in our country, it's being experienced around the globe. So politically, it's not only in the Philippines that we are having a big chaos, right? But if you're going to observe in the social media, you've seen how Filipinos are becoming critics. No, there you have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly, especially in the Facebook, how they are criticizing a certain candidate. So how do we situate ourselves as a teacher, as an educator, in nurturing our students to become digital intellectuals? Choosing the right amount of information, uh, choosing the quality resources that they need to have. Okay. Another one is social cultural, economical, especially right now that we are still embracing COVID emergency. And lastly is environmental. These are actually part of the sustainable development goals that we need to revisit again and rethink because it's part of our mission. It's part of our vision to be part of this undertaking. So, the challenge for universities and schools alike is not merely a question of balancing in person and online education, personalized or otherwise, in response to a healthy and safety challenge. They have to respond to a more complex Rubik's Cube. So again, it boils down to the different challenges that I have been mentioning kanina. Politics, social cultural, economics, and environment. So how do we cater our teaching and learning preparations with these challenges? So we are also aware of the rise of flexible learning for the Commission on Higher Education or for the higher education institutions. And then for DepEd, they have also embraced blended learning. But to give you a short recap of how flexible learning is being introduced in our country, it's actually based on Shed Memo number 4, series of 2020, which exemplifies the guidelines on the implementation of flexible learning, which is a pedagogical approach allowing flexibility of time, place on audience, including but not solely focused on the use of technology. Okay? So flexible learning, as we all know, is the design and delivery of programs, courses, and interventions that address learners' unique needs in terms of pace, place, process, and products of learning. So when we're talking about, syempre sa end ng Department of Education, it's culture-based. We're also catering the differentiated instruction that we need to maintain and offer to our learners. No? So while it focuses on essential experiences, content, and outcomes, it also promotes learner control and customizability, thus making it different from other instructional designs. At the onset, we're having a chaos on how to be oriented with this new educational framework. But then later on, thank you, Lord, para ngayon, we are able to adjust already. We know how to plan things out. We can be creating collaborative strategies and approaches successfully kasi medyo nasa phase na tayo ng um, parang stability when it comes to embracing flexible learning. There was a time when we read this statement from the commissioner, the Commission on Higher Education. From now on, flexible learning will be the new norm. There is no going back to the traditional full-pack face-to-face classrooms. The Commission has adopted a policy that flexible learning will continue in school year 2021 and thereafter. So, when I first read this, I was shocked because, syempre, we were used to the usual brick and mortar setup. But then I came to realize that, it's also a great avenue for us to also practice this because other parts of the countries around the globe are already implementing this. Although in the Philippines, there are some universities that are already doing this. That's to cater students who are enrolling from afar. So, as for me, there are advantages and disadvantages in having this type of setup. However, because of the new challenge that we are posing right now, so plans and other strategies and um, programs that our educational sector has been offering has been facing another challenge, and that's because of Omicron variant. No? So we need to reassess and revisit and how far could we go when it comes to really acknowledging the presence of this setup. No? So when we're talking about flexible learning, according to Dr. Fermin of the National Teachers College, there are three dimensions of this type of learning. The first one is residential learning, which is composed of the face-to-face provision, where there is more opportunities, no, to meet your students, while may remote provision, less lang siya, okay? For blended learning naman, there is face-to-face provision, it's limited, but for remote provisions, it's more. And for open distance learning, there is face-to-face provision, like rare to none, and remote provision, it's more. In our university, in Polytechnic University of the Philippines, we already have an open university where students coming from afar can enroll and attend classes. And during COVID, this has really intensified, and our university has been forging linkages and partnerships locally and internationally just to cater and deliver the best services that our students need to acquire. So basically, the things that I have just been mentioned call for change, call for innovations. So we have seen that teaching models are changing and forcing universities and colleges and schools to adjust their business and financial models. It's not actually the educational sector alone is affected. Industries, companies, medical sector, and other types of sectors around the globe are still experiencing this big turmoil. Okay? So, how can we assess the future of education and technology right now? So, what will learning look like in the future? According to the recent surveys, it revealed that almost 75% of educators in the world believe that digital trends will replace textbooks by the end of the year of 2026. So, if you are a teacher, are you going to follow this trend, or do you think this will happen? We don't know because we do have different diversity when it comes to backgrounds, demographic profiles, not as a teacher, if you're coming from the urban cities or rural cities, it depends. Because as for me, I hope not. Because we know that books are still the primal purveyors of knowledge where students can have meaningful and fun learning opportunities, no, when they visit the library. So as there are several remarkable teaching learning technologies on the way, the educational settings are likely to get updated with time. So today, I'm not saying that I am a purebred digital native teacher because I'm sure that I still need to learn and decipher heaps of platforms with base tools right now, especially that we are about to unfold Education 5.0. So teachers, school leaders, parents, etc. are actually familiarizing various innovations of digital technology. First one is virtual reality. Before COVID, this was actually introduced. Some of the curriculum in the Philippines or yung mga higher education institutions or even sa DepEd have been considering this innovation already, right? We also have mobile learning experiences where teachers are really doing their best to be familiarizing as well with all of the things that they need to navigate, no? On how they could simplify and provide an factor when it comes to delivering a lesson to the students. Next one is gamification. So we have seen that a lot of developers and programmers are really introducing a massive trend when it comes to different games available online, and then interactive tools and online courses. Online courses nowadays are also massive. You can enroll anytime for free if you want to study in Harvard University, in the University of Sydney. It's for free. But there are times that it's not for free, but it still depends. You can use the free courses, to grab the opportunity. So these are the new things that we need to really reflect at and move on and try to apply this in our system. But not all, I'm saying all, but at least you have already imbibe it and apply it, gradually so that we can be better and effective teachers to our students. So let me share to you the emerging trends, models in education. I wish I could share everything, but this training is only focused into three. So the first one is the Genius Hour Education. So we are aware that flexible learning is here to stay. This will be the new norm. And it's a great challenge for all of us because when we are embracing flexible learning, we are also, it means to say that teachers need to be adept with all the pedagogical constructs and learning content, in delivering the lesson, providing a state-of-the-art facilities for school administrators and the like sa klase. And ako naman as a teacher, if I will not be innovating my resources, then I could not possibly give the best delivery to my students when catering online classes. So and my students are currently working and studying at the same time, how can they respond to the demands made or provided by their professors and teachers? So this will be the new norm. No? Diverse place and time. So this is the good news here because during COVID, we are aware that I'm a career woman. So during COVID, I was having that opportunity with my daughter while working at the same time. So anything under the sun could be gauged at or maybe could be catered on because we can work any time of the day, and that's also applicable to our students who are also working and studying at the same time, right? So a landscape altered rapidly is really observable. So it means to say that location agnostic systems where learning can take place anywhere, anytime, and in any modality or technology like synchronous, asynchronous, etc. Okay, what needs to be learned? So this is really catered on by the Department of Education when they finally focus on the MELCs, the most essential learning enhanced competencies, learning competencies. And the next one, the challenge is the depth of pen and paper assessments. It's a question mark because I don't know if this will happen, but gradually parang namamatay na yung pen and paper. No? We are doing online assessments already through the use of the Google Forms and other online assessment tools, right? However, we should revisit this. If you're an administrator, we need to really take a look at this. How can we cater and encourage our students to be critical thinkers if there would be the dying of our assessment that we usually do every day? No? Because the contention, the argument of the modern educators is it's never about how much one knows, but how one transfers knowledge. So during this time, our learners, our students can have personalized learning where they can choose their own gadget or equipment, no? In their own pace, place, and pathway of time. And tayo din, ganun naman, no? We can use different web-based tools. We can have our own learning management system, or maybe it depends on your universities or schools, no? We can have a variety of options. We are catering different types of learners, no? Like correspondence mode or online mode and other stuff. So I'm sure you're aware of this, but let's try to also rethink of where our learners or emergent learner groups right now. So they are being classified into three categories. The first one is category one. It's without connectivity. Students who do not have internet access, mobile devices, and other related resources at home. The next one is category two, with limited connectivity, like students who have irregular internet access but have at least a mobile device with messaging capability at home. In category three, with connectivity, students who have stable internet access, mobile devices, and other related resources at home. So, as a teacher, as an educator, how do we adjust from this type of groups? How can we cater the different learning styles and conditions that they're currently facing if you will not adjust, if you will not embrace differentiated instruction? So, kaya nga, may mga bagay tayong ginagawa or yung mga trends and models that we can use. Depende pa rin sa needs assessment that we're using, especially when we are catering online learning modalities. So the first one is Genius Hour. Okay? Have you heard this before, my dear teachers? Or were you able to already apply this in your respective teaching and learning experiences? Well, if not, then this is the best way for you to unfold its intricacies. Okay? So, what is Genius Hour education? It's actually an approach to learning where students are guided by their own interests, background, knowledge, and curiosity to learn. So from this definition, we have seen that students are independent. They are self-starters. They are self-managers and self-leaders who can solve problems, right? Here, they are given the chance to magnify their interests. For example, if you let them, if they want to do some crocheting, they would like to learn a new skill when it comes to arts, horseback riding, etc. So let them do that. No? So from the outside looking in, it is less organized, less formal, and less standardized than traditional learning. So Genius Hour is truly open-ended learning characterized by student self-direction, passion-based learning, inquiry, and autonomy. So here we are training them to become problem solvers. They are creative thinkers who can really design something which are pivotal, not to making them owners of their own learning. The next one is, let me present to you the brief summary of general guidelines, no, of how some teachers can use or implement Genius Hour education in the classroom. So the first one is choosing a topic, no, and then receive project approval, complete the research, and present your findings. So ganito lang yung process, as simply as that. The ball is in our hands as teachers. How do we encourage our students to demonstrate this type of project in the classroom? So when we're talking about Genius Hour education, project-based learning approach is actually related to it. Okay? So first one is choose a topic. So here, we give our students the chance and agreed upon amount of time to research different topics, no? Ask them to choose something they feel passionate about and that interests them enough to focus on it for an extended period. So as you see, it's more on research, no? It's more on guided inquiry. We are there, but we can never be there all the time, no? We let them explore and discover their interests. That's why differentiated instruction is connected with this type of model. Okay. The next one is receive project approval. So once each student has decided on a topic, they get to present their plans and can choose to approve them. In order to get approval, students can write about or present their project idea, including a plan outlining how they are going to complete the project and what they hope to learn. Okay? So here you're giving them the independence to become the managers, no? To become project managers of their own right. They're given the freedom and autonomous learning, no, to solve a problem. And from that, how they could possibly complete the research that you are giving them. So students can use the technology, books and magazines or any vlogs available in YouTube or any that type of materials that you can use, whether in the library or online. They may find useful videos, blog posts, no, encyclopedia articles, interviews, or they can ask experts, no, to provide them with information for their project. So what I'm trying to encourage here, we can let them do anything they want, because it's related to their project management. The next one is present your findings. So once our students completed their research, they begin their project, okay? Because research is a crucial element in this management, no? When they will not prepare for it, of course, they will not be able to produce a quality output, no? So let us introduce to them the value and the rhythm of research, no, in the project. So because Genius Hour focuses on student-centered learning, they can choose the format in which they complete the project. For example, they can create a video, blog post, a formal essay, a piece of art, or perform in front of the class. So these are the 4 important things that you need to maintain when embracing this type of model or trend. So with the Genius Hour The students are engaged and empowered through the guidance of the teacher, no? Where they're able to start off their wonders and curiosity through inquiry and research. So from that, yung democracy, the way how they're given the chance to explore on their own is quite meaningful and impactful to their learning experiences. So according to Teach Thought, they postulated two facets of how Genius Hour is characterized. So the first one, according to them, Genius Hour is authentic because, especially sa assessment, it's ongoing. It's based on the actual learning experiences, where these experiences could be, or this knowledge could go on and on, no? Based on the student's capacity to demonstrate the mastery. There are new challenges. It emphasizes inquiry and research. It's personalized. It's purpose-driven. It's mother-friendly or maker-friendly. It's student-centered, often collaborative and social, and it's messy. No? And it's a great learning experiences to have this within your mechanism as a teacher when you train your students to be this type of learners. The next one is, these are the non-characteristics of Genius Hour. Data-driven, teacher-centered. Of course, we could not question the expertise of the teacher, like when it comes to pedagogy, content, assessment, etc. No? But we need to really train our students to become owners of their own learning. So here are my free time for students, standards-based, structure-free, less rigorous, and other stuff. Okay, so from this, you have seen how effective it is to really practice and maintain this one in the classroom. So let us remember that there are three basic rules for Genius Hour. The first one is, it should be driven by student curiosity and might use a clear driving question to guide the inquiry. So it really boils down to the problem question, no? Presented by the teacher or by the student alone, if he or she is giving the chance to do that. And it should involve research or clear new learning. We shouldn't be very afraid of how our students are able to construct and decipher their own meaning and learning. We should be very proud of them that they are able to conceptualize new terms, new concepts, and other stuff. And finally, the product, the end result or the outcome, the compelling artifact from the project can be shared and published, because it's useless when we will not let our students present their findings at the end of that project management. So why should I do Genius Hour? This will be the vital question that is besetting right now. No? Genius Hour also offers differentiated through content what is taught here. What's more on the information, the intellectual and mental processes that our students need to possess. The process, how it's being taught or learned, how it's being shared to our students. And the product, how students demonstrate learning, like how they're able to write a story, to make a blog, to perform a vlog. So it depends on the specific outcomes that they're expected to exhibit, right? So let me present you the seven reasons to pilot Genius Hour project. So firstly is, Genius Hour increases student ownership and buy-in. Okay, so here we are aware na from this type of process, we are really aiming at making them self-managers, no? Self-holistic learners. We are aware that, of course, they are complying from all of the requirements that we're giving, and we are also targeting them to become engaged from all the requirements that we're giving them. Pero lastly, we need to also empower our students. Now, from the hard skills and soft skills that we are trying to let them acquire, is that they can be the leaders of their own learning. Kaya may tinatawag na student agency. No? Here, We they do not they are not only decide the topic, no, but they also generate their own questions, find the sources for the research, determine their own strategies, and engage in their own project management. So see, we are giving them the full autonomy not to go beyond, no? To think outside the box and basically discover the good, the bad, and the ugly. We shall always let them experience, the positive and the negative sides of learning, so that basically it's part of their growing up. And from all of these things that we are training them to become holistic learners, true empowerment involves ownership. Ownership, and how can we do that? So we are aware that when we're trying them to become self-leaders and managers, we are also training them, to also have that metacognition. No? They grow into lifelong learners. But how does metacognition actually work? So let's have a short recap on this. So first one is assess the risks. So here our students are trained to identify and calculate possible risk assessments when it comes to learning a particular project. And after that, they evaluate yung strengths. No? They can maximize the strength of this project, or maybe minimize kung ano yung mga possible weaknesses or risks. And then plan the approach. They can be able to strategize, no, learning methods and techniques, how to solve the problem, apply strategies, and reflect or maybe change the plan because they know na ito ay hindi effective, ito ay effective, and whatever it is. So, metacognition cycle. That's thinking beyond thinking. Okay? The next one is Genius Hour helps students develop into lifelong learners. So this is basically the concept why we are training them to become globally competitive. No? And the workload, no, that we're giving them dapat properly assessed and properly evaluated. No? May feedback and monitor evaluation if these competencies are really acquired by our students. Genius Hour teaches students the soft skills needed for a complex world. Like, alam naman natin with the VUCA world that we are experiencing right now, nobody will help them to really guide them during the actual field. It's them alone, no? So it's our fundamental duty to really capacitate them with all of the competencies that are stipulated or even not stipulated in the curriculum, because everything or every learning should go beyond. It's our job to really tickle their senses and imagination. So they need to wonder. They need to ask questions. They need to be inquisitive as to the nitty-gritty lessons that we are preparing them for the future. Let them think. Let them create their own research. Let them fail. Let them appreciate the beauty of challenges so that we can be able to really build their own future. We can guide them to be self-leaders in their own right? And the next one is Genius Hour teaches students to master the content in an authentic way because it involves direct learning. It's continuous. They would be able to really appreciate. Kaya nga may tinatawag na may depth of pen and paper assessments, because when they are in the actual field already, wala na yung mga pencil and paper assessments that they're actually answering. It's more on the soft skills and hard skills that are expected of them to be displayed during the actual field. Okay? And Genius Hour makes differentiated learning a reality because we are teaching students coming from different learning styles, backgrounds, diversities, ethnicities, religion. So we let them do their own thing. We let them geek their own preferences. Let them shout, let them discover, let them feel the presence of acknowledging their own failures, wins, triumphs, and etc. Kasi we are promoting, di ba, sa DepEd, yung culture-based education sa atin din naman sa, for those who are teaching in the higher education institution. So, yung type of openness or yung culture-based education pa rin na dapat our students can acquire. So, in other words, it's a shift towards student ownership. Sila na. Wala na tayo doon during the real McCoy. So, we need to really exemplify the good, the bad, and the ugly upon learning these things for our students. Sixth is Genius Hour helps students make connections between content areas like ano yung mga expected content areas na dapat ay nakukonect. Kaya nga sa DepEd, merong tinatawag na integrative teaching. Sa higher education institutions naman, merong tinatawag na multidisciplinary approaches in teaching para our students could really adapt to the different challenges, different subjects that are offered. When they're in the actual field, they can adjust from the multiple or the integrated connections or design thinkings that you're experiencing. And lastly is Genius Hour creates a culture of joy. You can never question the intellectual capacity of their students when they're able to design something, create something. They're able to share their findings. They're able to respect the findings of others. So that's the beauty of it. So let me present to you the 15 Genius Hour ideas that you can do in the classroom. So meron tayong research, your ideal career. You can do this in your own respective classrooms pag your students can have access to internet connections. You can let them make their own video game, learn a new language, build a city, complete a mini engineering project, write a story, make a website, etc. Medyo complex, medyo mahirap. It's fiddly, right? But when do we let them start these things? Dapat as early as now, we are already letting them identify or maybe familiarize these things. Of course, I don't know kung sa elementary ay kaya na, but it still depends on the learning objectives and competencies that our students need to acquire. Okay? So we are done with the Genius Hour education. So right now, proceed na tayo sa hybrid learning model. So what is hybrid learning model? So it's an instructional design or delivery model that combines in-person or yung brick and mortar presence ng teacher and students and yung online learning, yung combination. Nagtuturo ka dito tapos may nakikinig din online. So yung hybrid learning model, meron tayong tinatawag na face-to-face, blended learning, where of course it goes for personalization of the student. So it could be catered for face-to-face, may remote learning tools, and sa blended learning naman, adaptive learning tools. So nakikita natin na may flexible schedules, may social distancing, kasi may mga pros and cons pa rin when we're talking about hybrid learning model. So ano ba yung mga pros? First one, for hybrid learning, allows for in-person interaction. So yun, nobody could replace the presence of the teacher in the classroom, right? So that's a plus factor when you are able to have an actual engagement with your students, with the presence of the teacher. Mas meaningful, mas impactful, trajectory to the learning experiences of the students. Last night, I was messaged by a father na, yun nga, kailan daw mag-face-to-face, sabi. Meron pang Omicron for now, so it's impossible po. So, yeah, I help him demonstrate understanding and maging patient pa rin when it comes to really catering the blended learning that the Department of Education has been offering. So when compared with 4-day on-campus learning, hybrid learning reduces students' chance of exposure to COVID-19. And that's true, right? Third, hybrid learning or model typically reduces stress. And hybrid learning creates a sense of normalcy. So basically, ito na yung magiging norms natin. Mawawala yung stress lalo na pag nagbabiyahe ka, or ikaw ay working student, you can access your lessons through video lectures. Yun yung maganda, maraming opportunities then. Cons of hybrid learning. First, it puts all virtual students at a disadvantage. Like, syempre, with the internet connection, alam naman natin that our country has the one of the countries having a problem with internet speed, no? Yung connectivity ng mga estudyante natin, yung gamit nilang gadget and equipment sa pag-cater ng online learning. Sa part din ng teacher, no, medyo mahirap then how to basically deliver an effective lesson, no? When compared with virtual learning, hybrid learning significantly increases a student's chance of exposure to COVID-19, especially pag, yun nga, face-to-face, no? You need good time management skills kasi pag ikaw student, maraming mga video lectures na i-upload sa asynchronous lesson. So, kailangan mong, you need to really divide your quadrant of management sa time management. Like, ano yung mga importante na dapat mong i-upload or download para maintindihan mo yung lessons na binigay for a week. No? And number 4 is there is less participation online. Kasi hindi naman lahat ng estudyante ay nabibigyan ng opportunity to really speak out during the online session. So this is one of the cons. So we have observed na during the rise of online learning or flexible learning, the pandemic prompted a newfound urgency to reinvent curricula and offer flexible learning. So there is more interest in stackable learning, like defined as taking a selection of academic programs that can stack together to achieve a certificate or degree. So ito yung mga isa sa mga na-enjoy natin when we embrace flexible learning. So here, educational institutions need to adopt alternative certifications in an effort to keep up with the pace of change in the jobs demanded by the labor market. Like, while bachelor's degrees are still sought after, educators are introducing shorter courses, no, and stackable credentials that better meet the needs of the learners. Totoo yan, no? Actually, before COVID, I've been really enrolling myself to other courses abroad, no? I was able to study in a certain Harvard University, enrolling a grammar course. Yung parang noon, ang hirap mag-aral abroad, but because of the environment that we're having right now, so it's time to grab the opportunities. No? So there was an offering of flexibility on cost, time commitment, and the ability to gain certification in emerging specializations in fast-changing fields like technology and healthcare. So may tinatawag na stackable learning. No? It means it is taking a selection of academic programs that can stack together to achieve a certificate or a degree. So basically, meron tayong tinatawag na digital credentialing and data-driven education workforce and alignment. So take a look at this. Kung ikaw ay English teacher and you would like to have a language certificate in Madison College, so firstly, kailangan mong kumuha ng credits or course sa basic language, and then gusto mo pang mag-elevate doon, so conversational language, and then practical language. So basically, yung end process niyan is for you to grab an opportunity to get a certificate or a degree. No? So yun yung maganda. Well, nag-work ka and then nag-aaral ka, yun yung magandang opportunities na dapat natin i-avail. So, this is one of the major trends or models na pwede nating i-enjoy for now, i-grab, like digitization and explosion of educational credentials, no? A rapid shift from static educational records and transcripts, previously an extremely analog process that centered around degrees to online, digital credentials focus on certificates and certifications, okay? Alam naman natin yung shelf life of skills natin ay nag-iiba, no? Before COVID, talagang kulang na kulang tayo. Pero during COVID, yung skills natin when it comes to carrying online learning modality ay nag-elevate, no? May skyrocketing performance tayo or skills na na-achieve. So, ganun din dapat tayo when it comes to our credentialized packages para magamit natin sa promotion, ma-enhance pa natin yung professional development natin and other important details, no? So, when we embrace flexible learning, meron din tayong tinatawag na rethinking of curricular offerings. So, yung STEAM curriculum. So, originally, it's STEM foundation like science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But right now, other countries are already embracing and including arts in the curriculum. It means to say na kinikater na talaga lahat ng subjects. Kasi may mga estudyante tayo na may preferences or inclination sa arts. No? So this could be the new trend that we need to also take a look into. As we all know, our students are born with infinite possibilities, no? Talagang digital native sila right now and ito yung dapat nating mag-grab and ma-imbibe din as teachers. Okay? So how do we implement hybrid learning? So ito yung mga key steps na pwede kong ma-share sa inyo, no? As teachers, as school leaders, paano natin yun gagawin? Kasi ito na yung magiging future natin eventually. So firstly is to align grade levels in departments. So naturally, kailangan natin ng mga approvals no, from the higher echelon like the Department of Education or kung magti-take effect na siya sa higher education institution. So we need to also do some connections and collaborations, no? Complete staff assignments, like ano yung mga assignments that we need to orient the teachers, the faculty, staff, the parents, etc. No? Finalize safe transportation plans kasi alam naman natin na we're also catering in-person, no, connectivity between the teachers and the students, no? And then may mga adjustments sa calendar. We also adhere to safety protocols. Dapat prepare tayo sa mga possible resources na kailangan magamit during the hybrid learning model. Install temporary physical modifications for health and safety. So before naman natin ibibigay ang ganitong provision sa bawat school ay talaga namang may mga requirements din ang government no, to really maintain safety protocols and social distancing. Prepare for COVID-19 cases. No? Maganda kung may doctors or nurses na sa schools. No? Sa amin naman, we do have doctors and nurses to cater to the COVID-19 cases in our university. Coordinate nutrition services and communicate throughout from the inside out. So, maganda yung internal and external communication na revitalize pa and solidify so that yung target client who's natin, that's our learners, will be best supported. Kailangan nagpo-forge ng linkages yung school, tsaka yung mga stakeholders para mas maibigay, ma-aid natin yung support, yung best support para sa mga estudyante natin. So, another initiative na pwede nating magawa, no? Closing the digital divide, like marami ng mga cloud solutions sa ngayon, yung mga shareable data, no? O for example, sa Google Drive, pwedeng magamit natin yan or ma-maintain natin yan or ma-provide natin sa mga estudyante, no? Yung using low bandwidth technologies, we're using this like sa Facebook Messenger, no? Mahal naman po palagi tayo nagsuzoom. So, for offline sessions where we can announce, so why not use yung mga free web-based tools, no? We also have, or dito sa Philippines, marami ng mga provision or yung DICT nagpo-provide ng free wifi sa campus, sa mga internet cafes or kahit sa train, or may latest nga yung mga bangka ngayon, or hindi ko alam kasi nga because of the recent typhoon that we have experienced, lalong naapektuhan yung mga sa far-flung areas. So that's also one of the main concerns that our government sector has been facing, no? And partly sa flexible learning or sa new landscape natin ngayon, meron ding AI-driven education. Ano ba yung AI-driven education? So you have observed sa ngayon, marami tayong text na nare-receive sa school or kung may mga emergencies, yung NDRRMC, nagtitext sa atin. This is actually one of the results of embracing artificial intelligence. It's a variety of powerful new platforms and technologies have emerged grounded in cloud computing, enormous data sets, and artificial intelligence. May mga machine learning, SM messaging, it's growing, it's integrated doon sa schools natin. And na-experience na natin siya even sa pag-order ng mga food, yung mga food deliveries. When we go inside the Jollibee or sa McDonald's, you can already do some orders through a machine. These are examples of the artificial intelligence. It's actually pioneered by the Georgia technology, where we are being assisted through an online degree opportunities. And then through the new landscape or trends and models right now, we have seen how partnership has become dominating among universities where they can offer single courses, they can collaborate with colleges and universities. Meron din tayong mga Netflix-like learning na pwede kang mag-enroll ng isang course and then babayaran mo siya and then you go another opportunity or course para mas ma-improve mo pa yung knowledge mo, kunyari, about marketing, about leadership. So, famous dito ay yung Udemy Business and Straighter Line. And then, I'm sure you're aware of this, the massive open online course where we have seen free online courses abroad. Or kahit dito sa atin, the University of the Philippines has been offering a wide amount of opportunities para mas ma-enhance pa yung professional growth natin. So why not also give yourself a time if your internet connection is kind, kasi you will allocate your time management here in answering it online. So meron din yung personalized learning or teaching where depende na rin yun sa choices ng mga estudyante natin, or tayo din as a teacher, if how do we cater yung personalized learning that our students want to grab. Okay, the next one is social learning. So I hope pag ini-embrace na natin yung face-to-face or kung meron man hybrid model or hybrid learning model, yung mga estudyante natin ay makaka-experience ng mga educational tours. They can visit online virtual classrooms na talagang may presentations of artificial intelligence, yung mga virtual realities ay ma-experience nila. But of course, by observing IATF guidelines and protocols. Yung mga mobile learning, I'm sure that the deputy teachers or yung sa mga HEIs were doing this before COVID and na-intensify siya during COVID. So, it's still an ongoing and working opportunities for all of us to try and venture into new things para mas maka-offer pa tayo ng advanced learning opportunities for our students. Gamification. This is also one. I hope this year, ito yung mga nasa bucket list natin to tick off and kahit one or two gamifications na pwede natin gamitin. And we can also use this for our research purposes kasi alam naman natin na it's also a requirement for us to publish and to present and publish researches, right? So, tapos na tayo sa hybrid learning. So, for now, we will be discussing the last trend or model. Ito yung wonders of nano learning. So, ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng nano learning, my dear teachers and leaders? So, in a nutshell, nano learning is a bite-sized learning solution. So, it involves learning or providing students with information in smaller amounts over a shorter period of time. So, kunyari, ang klase mo ay 3 hours, so parang mag-allocate ka lang ng 20 minutes para mag-lecture, tapos the rest sila na ang gagawa. Parang based on research, talagang proven siya na effective, no? So, learning in short bursts is proven in a rhythm of communication that's to increase our ability to take in and retain information. So, by providing your students with small, pellet-like bits of information, you are much more likely to increase their productivity, capture their attention, and aid their ability to learn. Gaya nung napansin ko or na-share ko kanina that our students are actually having their decreasing attention span. And ito yung isa sa mga pwedeng sagot natin na para mas ma-enhance pa nila na yung opportunity to really focus on the most important and significant research findings or lessons or opportunities na pwede nilang ma-enjoy for a day's lesson. So the future of learning, nano-learning, so we are looking into the relevance, efficiency, and engagement na pwede nating maitap para sa mga estudyante natin. Kasi eventually, magiging effective workforce na sila, and it is our job to really prepare them for the future. So it means to say that merong bite-sized learning, nano, micro, mini credentialing pathway. So same pa rin sa mga massive open online courses na pwede din nating ma-avail as educators and teachers, no? Para maging enhance tayo. We cross-skill, reskill, and upskill our opportunities. So here, it's more on output-driven, no? Outcome-focused, competencies by the hour and not by the subject, no? So I hope pwede nating magamit ito. Ito na actually ang ginagawa ng ibang institutions para wag nating punuin sa mga irrelevant ideas yung mga estudyante natin, no? We let them discover and explore on possible opportunities na maging creative sila, maging geeks sila in their own right based on their interests, no? Learning styles and opportunities. So before we unpack below, we unpack 4 of the most important benefits of nano-learning. So, it's lightning fast learning, no? It's inclusive learning, higher yung adoption rates, and it's efficient, no? Because when we embrace this type of learning, parang we are looking into holistic learners na talagang pag nasa actual na sila, ay positive yung response nila whenever binibigyan sila ng mga workloads, no? Inclusive siya kasi according to the survey, no, 70% ng mga employees sa Amerika ay talagang nahihirapan sa pag-a-access ng mga data because of internet connections and other problems. So through nano-learning, nagiging efficient and effective sila kasi hindi nila kailangan i-embrace everything. Basta nandun yung mga requirements na isang employer or organization ay alam nila na paano maging productive and efficient in their own right, no? So those are just some of the trends and models na kailangan ng mga malaman natin, ma-demystify natin, and ma-demonstrate of our understanding para eventually we can apply this one to our respective teaching and classroom routine experiences. So we will not forget also the use of utagogy, pedagogy, and cybergogy. So UTA, it means encouraging learners to become more self-directed. Pira, it focuses on co-learning or co-creating because we know that our students are expected to also collaborative, no? They can be winning and triumphing kung marunong silang makipagkapwa-tao. That's one of the skills that we need to let them acquire after graduation. And cyber encourages learner engagement in an online environment. So ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng utagogy? So it's the study of self-determined learning and applies a holistic approach to developing learning capabilities with the learner serving as the major agent in their own learning. So which of course is a result of personal experience. So gaya ng sinabi ko, we should never be in denial of giving them the best learning opportunity. So we let them rethink of their own learning, no? We let them learn, relearn, and unlearn. So in this respect, utagogy looks to the future in which knowing how to learn will be a fundamental skill, no, given the pace of innovation and the changing structure of communities and workplaces. So here, utagogy through the lens of a more creative, self-determined learner. So they are hard workers who can process their own learning. They are learner-directed without the support of the teacher. Kaya alam na nila paano mag-shift, no, to solve problems and guided relevant materials para ma-explore nila yon, process focus, and thinking outside the box. No? We'll let them solve the problems na sila lang mismo ang makakagawa noon, and we should not be very afraid of it kasi alam naman natin that our students are really creative nowadays, lalo na meron silang mga talents when it comes to technological advances. Another one is nonlinear designs and connections. So ito yung knowledge dito is divergent, where it's inseparable pero connected pa rin, in that our students will be able to relate their own understanding to that of a new meaning. No? So parang scaffolding pa rin, that yung mga foundational frameworks that they need to maintain or acquire until the knowledge goes on and on. Okay? So, ngayon, how Education 5.0 on social media enabled pedagogy. So, meron tayong mobile learning, virtual philosopher, and other stuff. And lahat naman ng klase ng estudyante ay makaka-access ng klase ng approach na ito. Even yung 2-year-old would like to learn how to do phonics, no? Or any learning experience. So ito yung mga possible skills, no, when it comes to embracing the pedagogical approach. So social media categories like collaborative projects, individual showcase projects, content information sharing communities, social networking, virtual games, social worlds, etc. Like yung work, yung web-based tool or yung game na Minecraft, diba? The US Army, maraming mga games ngayon na talaga namang pwede nang gamiting educational. Depende na lang sa teacher kung how would he be able or she be able to orient the students how relevant and effective these games are. Okay? The next one is defining pedagogy. In short, pedagogy is peer-based learning or learning from each other. We could never question the presence of other people para maging effective and productive individuals tayo. So it acknowledges the power of bidirectional peer relationships in facilitating professional and personal growth. So it is the exact opposite of a lecture, which is one-directional from the expert to the student. Okay, so pedagogy is founded in Malcolm Knowles' principles of andragogy, the art and science of how adults learn. So it has its roots in the deeper reflection that occurs when peers exchange ideas, thoughts, and insights on specific topics. Peer-based learning also serves as a catalyst of contrasting perspectives that can regenerate arguments about interpretation, meaning, and the application of the topic. So we know here that through collaboration, through sharing of ideas, principles, and concepts, our students are able to be receptive, to be positive about what they hear, what they convey, and that they are able to respect the opinions of others. Nagiging meaningful and trajectory siya, right? So pedagogy or peer learning is an educational practice in which students interact with other students to attain educational goals. This is actually a preparation for them to become holistic learners. Kasi alam naman natin when they are in the actual field, marami silang katrabaho na kailangan nilang magiging flexible, no, as to the behaviors, as to the presentation of workloads, and so on. So if you're willing to ask for help, no, and offer our help to others, everybody's learning escalates. So dapat ito yung guiding principles natin, no, as educators and social purveyors of knowledge. And last one is cyberpedagogy. So hindi naman siya big issue sa ngayon kasi alam naman natin that our students or learners are gradually embracing this type of framework or trend. Yun nga lang, we should never forget and trace the economic status of our students before engaging them into different learning opportunities like mobile learning, gamifications, etc. Kasi hindi naman lahat sa kanila ay may mga opportunities to really have an access to that. No? So splashdown, pedagogy is usually driven by information. Cyberpedagogy is driven by social goals. Pedagogy is a strategy adopted by a teacher, and cyberpedagogy is a network adopted by the world outside the classroom to learn anything. Okay? So how can we possibly do this. No? From the onset that we have discussed about the alternative trends and models for Education 5.0. So as teachers, we need to embrace upskilling. So it means to say that we upgrade skills and competencies to adapt to changing demands and opportunities. So for example, rewiring, no? Like attending a 3-hour online training on massive open and online courses. Maganda yon because at the end of the training, makakakuha ka ng badge or certificate. Magagamit mo siya for promotion, or yung knowledge na nakuha or yung skill na nakuha mo doon could be magnified, no, within your context. Reskill, acquiring skills and competencies in current, advanced, or new areas with specialization within the discipline, like reconfiguring the 3-hour online training on facilitating online lab courses, cross-skilling, learning skills and competencies, carrying out roles outside their existing discipline or expertise, like we let ourselves reimagine, like 3-hour online training on online counseling services. Kaya nagiging integrative din tayo. We embrace multidisciplinary approaches kasi nagiging agile tayo sa lahat ng trends and opportunities. So from all of the things, yung mga trends and models what we have just discussed, Education 5.0, we need to create a multiversity movement na merong borderless, again, it's borderless and customizable degree. No? This is not your typical alliance consortia kasi nagiging giving, nagiging unselfish tayo sa pagbibigay, pag-provide ng mga support para sa mga kapwa nating guro. So, dapat we are reverberating this one, we all are maintaining this para we can be able to change the world we would like to exemplify or resonate. So, don't think outside the box, no, my dear teachers and school leaders. We create or find a new box or box supplier. So, kailangan gawin natin yan. What we can do as early as now kasi we are still in the limelight na talagang nagbabago yung panahon, nandito pa rin si COVID, and kailangan positive lang tayo na kaya natin gawin yung mga challenges na meron tayo ngayon. No? So, we can propose the craziest next normal idea that will make the school thrive. Yung mga learning continuity plans, yung mga dapat deliverables na dapat natin i-submit every day, dapat hindi tayo natatakot. We should be fearless, no, in changing the lives of our students. Sabi nga ni Mahatma Gandhi, be the change you wish to see the world, at lahat ng change na pwede natin i-resonate within, no, ay nag-uumpisa sa atin. No? So, kailangan natin ng assurance sa sarili natin that we are taking care of ourselves na rin, no? Ay ni-embrace natin yung self-care because we cannot serve in an empty cup. Okay? So, the world needs our voice, my dear teachers and school leaders. So, kailangan we are also developing our holistic dimensions or aspects, no? Whether it could be about emotional, about our social well-being, about our mental health, about our spiritual life, lahat. No? So, we need to take care of ourselves as well, my dear teachers and educators. And that ends my lecture on alternative trends and models in Education 5.0 for teachers and school heads. I hope you were able to revisit and rethink who you are in terms of the educational challenges that we have right now. I can't wait to see you once again in the next training that we are going to unfold in this organization. Maraming salamat, my dear teachers and school leaders, for listening. God bless us all. Mabuhay!